You're watching live and in color, the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 Halloween edition.
And right now at 7, our very own Yana Atala goes live from Peace Church Cemetery to not only talk about preservation of its history, but how a group of volunteers leading a cleanup effort for the cemetery.
And the Miners Hall Museum in Franklin gets a $229,000 grant to help preserve a part of Southeast Kansas coal mining history.
And we've got some patchy, dense fog across the area. You can see on the MoDOT camera looking west on I-44 from Rangeline. We'll talk about how long the fog sticks around and what your Halloween forecast looks like coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. An update to a story we first brought you Friday. The Aurora and Marionville Police Department announced Sunday that 15-year-old Troy Devine had passed away after being struck by a vehicle on Friday. The incident happened at the intersection of Highway 60 and Highway 39 in Aurora, Missouri. There's no evidence of impairment by any party involved, but the accident is still under investigation. A Southwest Missouri man is dead after a crash in Berry County, Missouri. Authorities say 28-year-old Walter Hooper III of Cassville was driving 5 miles southeast of Cassville on Missouri 76 when he crossed the center line and hit another car. He was pronounced dead at the scene. And a woman is in serious condition after a hit and run in Pittsburgh. Authorities say an SUV hit 43-year-old Melanie Ishmura on the 1400 block of East 20th just before noon on Friday. They say the SUV car immediately left the scene, and police describe it as a pewter-colored SUV and say it was traveling west. It appears to be an early 2000 Chevrolet Tahoe or GMC Yukon. It might have damage in the front passenger side area. If you have any information related to the incident, you're urged to contact the Pittsburgh Police Department. A Neosho man is sentenced for child molestation. 19-year-old David Cox pleaded guilty, and the judge on Friday sentenced him to 15 years in prison. Authorities say the victim claimed to be forcibly molested between the ages of 11 and 14. That continued into 2021 when David Cox was 17 and subject to prosecution as an adult. Prior to Friday's guilty plea, the case was scheduled to go to trial next week. Peace Church Cemetery in Jasper County has a long history, and the workers want to keep it alive even though new burials haven't been done there for years. Our very own Yana Atala takes us to the cemetery to tell us more about it.
Thank you, Tanya, and good morning from the Peace Church Cemetery. We're live here. So the cemetery has not been taking any new burials for a few years for a reason. Even though the graveyard doesn't look full, the whole 5 acres of land is packed with graves. According to the caretaker Jim Beeler, new burials are not encouraged because there are several unmarked graves. Beeler says some graves face vandalism as they may get stolen, kicked down, or destroyed. One gravestones were chiseled off.
The stones were desecrated by somebody chiseling off the information. We don't know what for what purpose, but we're looking into that now. We think we might know who those individuals are, and hopefully we'll be able to maybe make them a new stone.
Beeler told me that sometimes people enter this graveyard to have haunted experiences, but he encourages people not to do that, to honor and respect the dead people here. Live in Joplin, Yana Atala, KOAM News.
All right, thank you, Yana. We'll see you again in 30 minutes. Well, formerly known as the annual Duquesne Trunk or Treat event, that's been renamed to Treats on the Trail. It took place at the Duquesne City Park. From 3 to 5 p.m., kids were able to have some Halloween fun along the trail with food, drinks, activities, and of course, candy.
I think honestly just a community that really desires a place to kind of come together. I think they want a place that they can come and bring their kids and not have to worry about what they're receiving or even what is around them. So Halloween sometimes can be scary, right? But we get to come and be silly and have fun. So I think that's a large part of it. And then again, I think the safety aspect of the officers and seeing their involvement and their desire to be out here and hand out candy themselves, I think that makes a large impact.
Well, the park is located at 1501 South Duquesne Road. Miners Hall Museum in Franklin, Kansas is getting a big grant and donation to help preserve a part of Southeast Kansas coal mining history. Check presentation totaled more than $337,000. $225,000 of that comes from a state grant, and the Patterson Family Foundation gave more than a $112,000 part of it. The money will go towards relocating and renovating a unique piece of machinery that was used to dig coal in Cherokee County. It's called a Page 618 walking drag line. That giant machine was donated by Wendell and Lyndia Wilkinson. It'll be relocated to the US 69 and Kansas 47 junction just south of the museum in Franklin. Officials say it will honor miners.
People that were dedicated, they knew that they needed to raise families and do the work that it took. So we are so happy to honor them.
The John U. Parola Education Trust also pledged an additional $250,000 towards the project.
All right, time for a look at this day in weather history. And back in 1950, Kansas City had its warmest Halloween on record with an afternoon high of 87 degrees. We're not going to see anything quite that warm around here, at least not this Halloween, but we do have some fog to deal with from northeast Oklahoma and portions of southeast Kansas and southwest Missouri. Visibility is pretty low, being reduced to maybe even a tenth of a mile or less in some cases, so do be aware of that if you're out driving this morning. You can see some patchy fog in Joplin from 7th and Range Line. 49 degrees, feels like 47. Look at temperatures across the area. We're not too bad. 43 Neodesha, 52 Chanute, 46 Pittsburgh, and 50 in Carthage as we start the day. As we go through today, we're looking at an afternoon high of 68 degrees under mostly clear skies, and tonight will be partly cloudy and drop back down to a seasonable 48 degrees for an overnight low. And if you've got Halloween plans, whether you're trick-or-treating, trunk-or-treating, or anything in between, we've got some pretty decent weather for you because the temperatures this evening are going to be pretty mild for your outdoor plans. As we go through this evening, we're going to be 66 at 6, 62 at 7, and 59 by 8 o'clock, so not bad at all. Then we warm into the 70s for the first week of November before we watch increasing shower and thunderstorm chances this weekend that we'll keep an eye on for you. And of course, don't forget to fall back on Sunday and get yourself an extra hour of sleep.
All right, well, up next, local health and police departments host drop-off booths for National Drug Take-Back Day. We'll have the details.
And later, we'll meet Webb City's soccer coach who helped a driver of an overturned semi-truck. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
In Health Watch this morning, local health and police departments host drop-off booths for National Drug Take-Back Day. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has the story.
National Drug Take-Back Day encourages the community to correctly dispose of expired prescription drugs. Not properly disposing of prescription drugs can be harmful to the environment.
If they flush them down the toilet, it contaminates the water. If they throw them on the ground, it contaminates the ground. So this way it gives people a safe and easy way to turn those prescriptions in so that we can dispose of them for them.
Throughout the day, the community came out to properly dispose of expired medication.
Yes, we actually have a box in our lobby, this white box over here. It's here all the time. Anytime the lobby is open, they can come and they just have to put them in there.
The community does not have to wait for National Drug Take-Back Day to safely dispose of prescription drugs.
Yes, they will come in. I cannot take sharps or liquids. So basically they come in, I ask them if they have any sharps or liquids. If they don't, they just put them in the box. We'll collect them all, and then our evidence technician will box them up and send them to be disposed of.
Disposing of prescription drugs helps the community in more ways than one.
Yes, and a lot of people just have, like one person that came in today, they had no idea that we have a way to do it throughout the year. So they had an entire bag, Walmart-sized bag of drugs that they've just been collecting, waiting for a day like this to be able to dispose of them. Because they don't want to dispose of them. They know these drugs are harmful to the environment, and they don't want them, anyone getting them.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Other health and police departments in the four-state area are also hosting booths for the community to drop off prescription drugs.
Well, we've got a pretty foggy morning for some of us as we start this Monday on Halloween, so the fog is, of course, appropriate. Southwest Missouri, extreme southeast Kansas, and northeast Oklahoma dealing with some reduced visibilities. You can see Anderson down to 0.4 of a mile. Grove is at 0 visibility, and that's some of what I encountered on my drive in this morning. 7th and range line, the sun trying to peek up. These clouds will burn off as the fog does so. 49 in Joplin, feels like 47 degrees outside. Temperatures across the area for the most part in the 40s to 50s. 43 Neodesha, 52 Chanute, 46 in Pittsburgh, 51 Lamar, and 50 in Carthage. As we go through today, we're looking at an afternoon high of 68 degrees under mostly clear skies, and for trick-or-treating, we're looking at the lower 60s, upper 50s, so some good weather there. We'll drop back down to a low of 48 tonight under partly cloudy skies, and sunrise, sunset for today, we're looking at the sun rising at 7:41, and the sun will set at 6:21. As we go through the rest of this week, we get into the lower 70s with partly cloudy skies, and then we're watching increasing shower and thunderstorm chances as we head into the upcoming weekend. Be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this. So we've been talking about it this morning. This is the MoDOT camera looking live west on I-44 from Rangeline. Check out the dense fog that has settled in down there. I thought for a moment that the power had gone out, but it just switched to color, and you can see that is how thick the fog is. So if you are driving this morning, please allow some extra time and some extra space between you and the car ahead of you, because as you can see, this fog is absolutely intense in some parts of the area this morning. Well, an Idaho football team has a new member, but you won't find her in uniform. As Brendan Jones reports, this four-legged friend just kind of hangs around with the team for the support.
If you've ever been to a Yotes practice, you might have seen her. Meet Nala.
Nala even sits here during practice, making sure the receivers are doing their foot drills right.
To her owner, Coach Leon Ledoux, she's the MVP.
Don't put that in there.
They're inseparable.
I know people say it, but she is like my friend more than anything else. She's always there. She's comforting. She's loving. She's a goofball.
Nala was supposed to be Ledoux's service dog, but her personality just didn't make the cut.
But she can't pass the test because she's too friendly.
Shortly after he was hired at C of I, Nala joined the team. She's had a football in her paws ever since.
She's never known any other life outside of football, so this is her day-to-day every single day.
She may spend a lot of time with the guys on the field, but she appreciates her girl time too. Just ask Clarissa Alexander.
And Nala's been my buddy for 2 years now.
Alexander is the team's athletic trainer, and she knows Nala brings a healing touch to all the athletes.
That's a large part of what our job has become, is emotional support, and having her here just cheers everybody up.
It was helpful to have her there and just bring that positive energy when you might not be so positive about what's happening with injury-wise.
Nala has left her paw on the program, and Ledoux wouldn't want it any other way.
I almost now can't imagine why you would have an athletic program or sports team and you wouldn't have a dog, you wouldn't want to have a Nala or something.
A best friend to the team.
And the relationship is really a win-win because Nala is so popular on campus, some professors and staff even keep treat stock to give her when she visits. All right, I want to compare and contrast these two images because this is the difference, too, that you'll experience in fog across the area. So this is the MoDOT camera at I-44 and Rangeline. It's looking west on I-44, even though you can barely see it on the south side of the city. Look at how dense this fog is down here. Now, I want you to take a quick look at our tower cam view from 7th and Rangeline. You go a little further north, and it's clear. I mean, it's just kind of crazy. Just south, on the south end of the city, you can barely see 10 feet in front of you, and you go a little further north, fog is nowhere near as dense. So do be cautious out there. And this is what we're looking at on the fog tracker with some dense fog all across portions of southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri, northeast Oklahoma. Grove is reporting 0 visibility right now. So be aware of that. 7th and Rangeline, temperatures are good, 47 degrees with a light south breeze. And across the region, we're not too bad either. We're looking at 52 Chanute, 50 Parsons, 46 in Pittsburgh. As we go through today, we're looking at a high of 68 degrees under mostly clear skies. Once the fog burns off, we'll drop back down to a low of 48 tonight under partly cloudy skies. And for trick-or-treating, we're looking at the lower 60s to upper 50s. So some great weather out there for you once we get past some of this just crazy fog across the area. We're back with more right after this.
It's time to honor today's fourth state hero, Chief Petty Officer Johnny Stroud. The Hepler, Kansas native served on the coast of Vietnam from 1964 to 1965 on board numerous ships. This decorated veteran earned a number of awards, including the National Defense Service Medal, the China Service Medal, and the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, just to name a few. To Chief Petty Officer Johnny Stroud, we thank you, today's fourth state hero.
Well, KOAM is always looking to hear from aspiring journalists.
So we're continuing a program where we air stories shot, written, and edited by local students.
And this story comes to us from Webb City High School.
Help can come when you least expect it, this time from Webb City soccer coach Nick Harmon, helping a semi-truck driver whose truck overturned on the highway.
Webb City High School multimedia reporter Brecklin Matthews spoke to Coach Harmon and has more.
On Saturday, October 1st, the Webb City boys soccer team was traveling back home from a tournament when a semi-truck in front of them turned over onto its side. Nick Harmon, who serves as the team's head coach and also teaches history at the high school, heroically ran off the bus and jumped into action.
I'm happy that, I was able to help and just getting them out of there, and glad that I didn't have to assist in anything, more life-threatening than that.
Well, obviously I was concerned about our kids, but I felt like we were in a great place with such a good man as Mr. Harmon with them and to take care of them.
With the help of some bystanders, Harmon managed to get onto the side of the truck, prying the door open and pulling out the victims.
Luckily, they were not super injured. They had some cuts and scrapes and stuff. There was two guys in there, and one of them clearly had hit his head pretty hard because he was a little disoriented and having trouble standing up. Mainly, they were just trapped inside and needed help getting out.
Coach Harmon jumped out there and acted like an American. He has a heart of gold.
Coach Harmon stays modest and humble, but those around him see clearly the heroism of this feat.
Coach Harmon thinks of others before himself. He's a great man. I know he served in the military and served proudly. The guy's a great guy all around. His action shows his heart.
He's a hero.
To Coach Harmon, it was just another day. But to his players and his co-workers, it was a day they will never forget. Reporting for Webb City News, I'm Brecklin Matthews.
It's a good coach to have on your side.
Absolutely. And like they said, he's an American. He's a true hero, going in, jumping into action, and helping to keep people safe.
And again, that was a Webb City High School multimedia reporter, Brecklin Matthews. Nice job.
Yeah, so I want to show you guys this because I don't know who all has seen it yet. Take a look at this.
What are we looking at?
This is I-44 and Range Line looking west, okay? So this is live right now, the MoDOT camera down there. That is how dense the fog is. And this image is in color because you can see the red on that car's light.
I'm hoping that car that turned off was actually turning on a road.
I certainly hope so too. So this is what we've been talking about with the dense fog situation this morning. Now I want you to contrast this with just a couple of miles to the north at 7th and Range Line. That's how big the difference is in the fog around the area, and that's also the changing conditions that you're going to run into going from super dense fog to no fog whatsoever. It's just a light fog up here. And we look at the fog tracker, and we're still dealing, as you saw on that camera, dense fog in northeast Oklahoma, extreme southeast Kansas, and southwest Missouri. Neosho at 0.2 of a mile, Anderson 0.3 of a mile visibility, Grove at 1/10 of a mile. So as you can see, very foggy in some areas. And like in Joplin alone, you go from pretty good driving conditions, you head a little further south, and all of a sudden, it just gets bad out there. We are 47 in Joplin right now with the light south breeze. Temperatures across the area aren't too bad either. 49 Independence, 50 Parsons, 46 in Pittsburgh. We're heading for a high of 68 degrees today under mostly clear skies, and we'll be partly cloudy, 48 tonight. And for trick-or-treating, we're looking at the lower 60s, upper 50s, so not bad. Quick check of the 7-day. We'll warm into the lower 70s for the week ahead before we see increasing shower and thunderstorm chances heading into this weekend. We're back with more right after this.
State's most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. Oklahoma authorities say the death of 8 people, including 6 children, found in a burning home in the Tulsa area is now being investigated as a murder-suicide. Broken Arrow Police Chief Brandon Berryhill says the 6 children range from 1 to 13 years old, and the 2 adults found dead are considered suspects. The causes of death are still under investigation, but the Broken Arrow Fire Chief says it does not appear anyone died because of the fire.
This is an extremely difficult time for our city and our departments. We pray that healing will follow this, and as we move this investigation, it will continue to be a difficult time.
Police chief says guns were recovered from inside the home. He says there is no danger to the public related to this case. Peace Church Cemetery in Jasper County has a long history, and the workers want to keep it alive even though new burials have not taken place for years. Now, Peace Church Cemetery hasn't carried out those burials for years, but they do want to continue to honor the ones who were buried in the past.
A cemetery paints a picture of the past, and each gravestone tells a unique story.
1840s, 50s, and 60s, when a baby was born and it didn't survive, they just needed to find a place that they could bury it.
Jim Beeler is the caretaker at Peace Church Cemetery in Jasper County. He says the first recorded burial dates back to 1846.
Stories were said that people were buried on people. I don't know that that's a fact, but when you look around the cemetery, they're buried in all different directions and in all different places.
Even though Peace Church Cemetery doesn't look full, the 5 acres is packed with graves. The last burial was completed in 2003. Beeler says new burials are not encouraged because there are several unmarked graves.
We don't know exactly where the burial graves are. It would be very difficult to bury someone here and not find a grave that's there.
Some of the soldiers from the Civil War are buried in the cemetery, but many of them are in unmarked graves. So far, volunteers have identified and marked roughly 300 plots.
A lot of people did not have the funds to establish a grave marker, and if we've found one and we know who's buried there, we've tried to make a grave marker for them to where at least they're recognized and their birth and death date.
For half a century, the cemetery grew wild, until Beeler and his team stepped in.
Many graves were sunken really bad. We are in the process now. We have a couple of work days a year.
It took 6 years of clearing overgrowth, repairing headstones, and leveling graves before the Peace Church Cemetery officially reopened in 2020. Even though the cemetery does not actively take new burials, the volunteer group wants to keep it maintained to honor the dead.
We all live, we all love, and when we die, we still need to be recognized in death.
A recognition everyone deserves that starts with a simple headstone.
And that was KOAM's Yana Tula reporting. Beeler told KOAM some people come to the graveyard for haunted experiences, but he wishes people would go to haunted houses instead and just let the cemetery be. Well, Joplin's Empire Market celebrates Halloween in style. Empire Market typically is used to give local vendors an opportunity to sell and showcase their items. But on Saturday, they used the space for kids to go trick-or-treating. Of course, there was candy, but there was also farm animals, including these cute little goats to pet, and a virtual costume contest.
Just the fact that it draws all these people here. We've got this cool place. We've got the Empire Market. We're here every Saturday 10 to 2, and it's just it's like some people don't know about it sometimes, and we want whatever it takes to get the word out. And because the more people come, it's more community. We build community and learn and grow.
Empire Market is located at 931 East 4th Street in Joplin. Well, it's not every day you can say you went trick-or-treating at a hospital, and these lucky kids can scratch that off their bucket list. Mercy Joplin held their own Halloween celebration, giving kids a chance to collect some goodies.
Yeah, so we got 30 booths today. It's a wide range of our departments that are putting on the booths. We've got quite a bit of public safety here. We've got our fire department, our local police department. We've got our local in-house public safety that's here to help out as well. And so we're just excited for a nice, safe event. We're very thankful for the great weather we've got here. It's nice and cool for the kids. So just hoping to have a good time with everybody.
I have to say the Scarecrow there was not very happy. Smile, Mr. Scarecrow. Mercy Hospital's employees and area businesses helped in the event. Well, this morning we're discussing Halloween monsters.
There's some new figures hiding out inside the Chicago History Museum's Crossroads of America exhibit. Until recently, the chilling toys were just haunting museum storage. Now visitors can gaze into their vacant, glassy eyes and learn about some scary secrets from the Windy City's past.
Visitors are provided clues about where to find the dolls if they dare to search. But like any nightmare, the dolls' visit is only temporary. Soon they'll find their way back to the museum's darkest corners, where they keep the city's deepest secrets.
And that does bring us to the question that we're asking you today. What's your favorite Halloween monster? Is it ghosts, ghouls, witches, zombies, werewolves, vampires, maybe something else? So far, 35% of you say witches, 8% of you say zombies, 18% other, 4% vampires, 4% werewolves, and 31% of you say ghosts and ghouls. Make sure you vote through our website, through the app. Take part in discussion on our Facebook page. I've been showing you this morning because this is just eerie. This is I-44 and Rangeline, the live MoDOT camera there, and you can see how dense the fog is. And then we take a live look at 7th and Rangeline, which this image has changed in the last few minutes as the fog is beginning to encroach on the city. Earlier, it was clear up here. But as you can take a look, I mean, it is getting downright foggy outside. We're talking very reduced visibility, so make sure you're driving carefully. We're going to be dealing with this fog all the way through your morning drive, so be aware of that. Look at some of these low visibilities. Grove, Anderson, Neosho, it is foggy outside, very appropriate for Halloween Monday. 47 in Joplin with a light south breeze. Temperatures across the area are in fair condition. 42 Neodesha, 52 in Chanute, 50 Parsons, 51 Lamar, and 50 in Carthage. As we go through today, we're looking at an afternoon high of 68 under mostly clear skies. Trick-or-treating, we're looking at the lower 60s, upper 50s. We're going to drop back down to a low of about 48 degrees under partly cloudy skies. And as we look at the 7-day forecast, we warm up for the first week of November into the lower 70s with partly cloudy skies, and we're watching increasing shower and thunderstorm chances as we head into the weekend. Got more of the KOAM Morning News Halloween edition right after this. As every X-Files fan knows, the truth is out there, and soon it will be in the hands of Congress. Intelligence agencies are set to deliver a classified document on the status of UFOs. Isabel Rosales explains the potential answers to this out-of-this-world mystery.
Science stranger than fiction, but these are very real images from the Department of Defense of an unidentified flying object. Or more officially, unidentified aerial phenomena spotted by pilots, including retired Lieutenant Commander Alex Diedrich.
Enter stage left, the tic-tac.
Off the coast of San Diego back in 2004.
It was white, it was sort of a matte finish, just like a tic-tac. And it behaved in a way that we were surprised, unnerved. It accelerated, or it almost didn't accelerate, right? It sort of jumped from spot to spot and tumbled around in a way that was unpredictable.
A report made public last year said there was no evidence that the sightings were extraterrestrial, but detailed how little was known about sightings like this.
Oh my gosh, dude.
NASA has announced its own independent study, and now Congress is set to receive an updated report from the Pentagon and intelligence agencies. While it's not clear how much of the classified document will be made public, according to the New York Times, it will find that most of the cases are random junk in the sky, like balloons or surveillance activity.
Well, if they're seeing something and they're saying they don't understand it, so that will make the average person go, oh, there must be something real and significant here.
You never know what's out there. I had a friend when I was growing up. I'd stay the night over at his house in town, and we'd stay up really late to see if we could spot any UFOs in the sky. Not sure if we ever really did. Hard to tell the difference between a UFO and a satellite or something like that, but you never know. We've got another check of your foggy Halloween forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. All right, take a look at this spooky image. This is the MoDOT camera looking live west on I-44 from Rangeline. So you can see a very dense, creepy Halloween fog has settled in, and initially it was confined down here. But if we take a live look at 7th and Rangeline, you can't see the shopping center anymore. How appropriate for Halloween that we're going to start our morning under the cover of fog. A little bit on the eerie side, but on the serious side, this fog obviously very dense still in southwest Missouri, extreme southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma. So do make sure that you are allowing plenty of time in your morning drive and keep distance between you and the car in front of you. Additionally, make sure you are using your low beams and or fog lights. Don't use your high beams in this business because that can make it more dangerous, especially to other drivers out there. 7th and Rangeline. I don't really need to tell you that it's foggy, but it's foggy. 47 degrees is what it is. So the reason it's getting so foggy right now too is when your temperature and your dew point are the same, your humidity is 100%. And that's why we have this really good fog building in across the area. Temperatures across the area too, 42 in Neodesha, 10-degree jump to 52 in Chanute, 46 Pittsburgh, 51 in Lamar. As we go through today, we're looking at an afternoon high of 68 degrees under mostly clear skies. For trick-or-treating, we're looking at the lower 60s and upper 50s, so pretty good weather. We'll be partly cloudy tonight, dropping back to an overnight low of 48 degrees. And when we look at the 7-day forecast, not so creepy compared to what we've got right now in the lower 70s for the first week of November. Partly cloudy skies. We are watching increasing shower and thunderstorm chances as we head into the weekend. Additionally, don't forget to set your clock back by 1 hour because, daylight savings time. Now, here's Tanya Bach with a look at Consumer Watch.
Today is shaping up to be likely the most expensive Halloween ever. Americans are expected to spend $10.6 billion with everything from costumes to candy costing more. Carter Evans has some tips on how you can save some Halloween money.
It's a clamor for costumes, and Americans are buying a different kind of mask this year.
It is definitely saloon.
Nurse Kamari Miller was taking care of COVID patients last Halloween.
I think a lot of people feel more safe going out and socializing.
Oh, happy Halloween.
69% of us are expected to celebrate this year, the most since the pandemic began. But people are on a tighter budget now. What's really frightening this Halloween? Inflation. Overall, candy prices are up 13%, in part due to high sugar costs.
Some candy price increases are downright scary this year. Candy corn up 33%, Starburst up 35%, and Skittles up 42%.
But in some cases, you're just paying for less, thanks to shrinkflation.
It's really difficult to tell if the product has changed. We buy Halloween candy once a year, and now they have these oddball sizes. Who knows if they've changed since last year or not?
A comparison of these Hershey's Kisses shows the updated, bigger bag actually has 2 ounces less. A Hershey spokesperson told us the packaging changes have been an industry practice for decades, and in this case, the change is to better store candy in the pantry.
And pumpkin prices are also up this year, almost 12%.
At Tina's Pumpkin Patch in Los Angeles, they reluctantly raised prices.
It's because every single facet of purchasing, shipping has gone up.
So where can you get a deal these days? Well, 2 national drugstore chains are offering buy one, get one free on certain Halloween candy in case you need to do some last-minute Halloween shopping. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Halloween can be a very frightening time of year.
Yeah, no kidding, especially with so many people and houses decorated to their scariest.
Well, these neighbors take it to the next level when a friendly decorating competition turns into a monster.
Jordan Bonnke brings us the scary details.
And if you can tell from an angle, the boat is actually floating and it's elevated over a sea of red blood.
When Alan Bloom moved to this East Mason neighborhood a few years ago, he made a comment to his neighbor that, in a way, still haunts him today.
I think I said that I could beat her with my decorations, something around those lines.
He said that to Brittany Rowley across the street.
We kind of chuckled and went inside, and I looked at my husband. I'm like,
Okay, challenge accepted.
Perhaps that comment cast a spell on Brittany, who started with one 12-foot skeleton, and now her yard and her neighbors looks like the house from the living dead. Now, as Halloween creeps closer, she's still adding more bones and tombstones. All of it enough for 2 storage units in the off-season.
It's just this infinity line that I just keep buying.
The Halloween spirit crossing property lines. The competition going to yet another level, even since last year when we profiled these neighbors. Now, if you think this is scary elaborate, this family also coordinates all these lights down the entire street. There's thousands of them. Both Alan and Brittany say with LED lights, the electric bill isn't too scary, and the job is never done until Halloween night.
We also have a surprise in store for Halloween night, so she hasn't seen everything that I have.
These decorations may aim to scare, but it's done the opposite by bringing out friendly neighbors from across the East Valley. And once it's all over,
Christmas, I think, is bigger. It's a lot bigger.
I hate to see what they do for Christmas.
Yeah, no kidding. But I mean, that's impressive, decorating the streets and everything to go along with it. That's awesome.
I ran out of space on my yard. Hey, neighbor, can I decorate yours?
Sure, okay, why not?
Hey, if my neighbor came over and asked, I'd be like, game on, go for it.
You know, Mother Nature has managed to decorate the 4 states. It's look at this.
Eerie fog.
I still can't get over how dense this fog is. This is a live look at the MoDOT camera looking west. If you can see it on I-44 from Rangeline, it's difficult to see. So just do remember, of course, you do need to be cautious with this kind of fog out in the area. So this is on the south end of Joplin, obviously. Now let's take a look a little further north. It looks a little better than it did a few minutes ago at 7th and Rangeline, but you still can't see the shopping center back here. You can't even see Natural Grocers, and you can barely see the traffic lights at 7th and Rangeline. So do be cautious if you're out driving this morning, because if you're in extreme southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri, or northeast Oklahoma, look at this. Carthage, 0.6 miles visibility, 1 mile visibility if you're lucky in CJ, 1/10 of a mile in Grove and Neosho, and 2/10 of a mile visibility in Anderson. So back to that foggy, absolutely creepy shot there. Perfect for Halloween day though, right? 48 degrees in Joplin. Winds are south at 7 miles an hour. Temperatures across the area for the most part in the 40s to lower 50s. 42 Neodesha, 45 Yates Center, 48 Iola, 46 Pittsburgh, and 51 in Lamar. As we go through today, we're going to warm up to a high of 68 degrees under mostly clear skies. And for trick-or-treating, we're looking about the lower 60s, upper 50s, so good weather there as well. Going into the night, will be partly cloudy and 48 for the overnight low. And as we look at the 7-day forecast, some big changes on the way. As we enter the first week of November, we're in the lower 70s under partly cloudy skies. And by the time we head into the first weekend of November, we are looking at the possibility of some showers and thunderstorms, bringing us some fair amounts of rainfall, something we absolutely need. Also knocks our temperatures back down into the 60s. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The Prime Minister of South Korea has promised a thorough investigation into the stampede that killed more than 150 people over the weekend in Seoul. Around 100,000 people were believed to have gathered for the country's first virtually unrestricted Halloween celebration since the COVID-19 pandemic. Among those killed were 2 American college students. Brazil has elected its next president. Leftist Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva narrowly defeated conservative incumbent Jair Bolsonaro with just over 50% of the vote. Da Silva previously served as president from 2003 to 2010. His win marks a big comeback after he spent a year and a half in prison on corruption charges. And the suspect in Friday's hammer attack on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, had a list of people he wanted to target. Law enforcement sources familiar with the investigation have confirmed to CBS News. Paul Pelosi is still hospitalized as he recovers from a skull fracture. The suspect, 42-year-old David DePape, is expected to be arraigned on Tuesday.
Well, after a very foggy start to the day, we'll warm up and be mostly clear, 68 degrees. We're looking at trick-or-treat temperatures, lower 60s, upper 50s, 48 and partly cloudy skies tonight. And as we enter the first week of November, we warm into the lower 70s, and then we're looking at some additional shower and thunderstorm chances as we head into the upcoming weekend.
Well, check out this incredible display in West Chicago. It was designed by 16-year-old Miles McCabe, also known as Brick Thunder, St. Charles East High School student.
Now, this Halloween Wonderland features more than 100 animatronics that Miles has collected since he was 9.
The display opened on Saturday and runs through today. Cost, well, it's free to attend, but they do accept donations.
If there's not much chance you'll be in the West Chicago area, just sit back and take a look at some of these amazing Halloween animatronics.
We'll just keep that playing for a minute.
Very spooky.
Ooh.
These are really cool too. Love it. We've also, of course, got very spooky, foggy conditions across the area. It's kind of insane how dense the fog is. That's I-44 and Range Line. The fog has gotten thicker there. You can barely see it. And 7th and Range Line, same situation. Extraordinarily foggy.
And it was not like that earlier.
No, it was a stark contrast, but very foggy. We'll be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better Halloween.